Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about everything. Take this as a part 2 of my welcome back video. I mentioned why I put a hold on my YouTube channel with becoming a group fitness instructor and taking up contortion. I wanted to elaborate because I think it was time for me to explain what was happening, my new interests, and how everything still combines as it all being part of my life. Because there's so many questions also I get asked on Instagram. How did I become so flexible? Was I always able to do a handstand? How did I get to that point? And I just wanted to do a video that just explains everything from the very beginning up until now. And also my new influx of beauty on my Instagram feed, because I truly believe Instagram is everyone's life portfolio. I remember when it started, and of course when I started Instagramming, it was well into its prime. Everyone was on there. I was just late to the game. And I really thought it was just you post what you like. Whether it was food, exercise, vacation, family, whatever it was you, and it represented you. I feel like now everything has to be like a category. If you're yogi, only yogi things go on there. If you're fitness, only fitness things go on there. If you're makeup, only beauty goes on there. I'm like, but what if I liked all those things? And what if you love all those things too? So I felt that I just wanted to put all my interests on one feed. I don't care if one post is me doing a split and the next one is me doing makeup. Why? Because I do those things, both those things, on a daily basis. So if you also love eyeshadow, but you also love training handstands, well, you got a buddy right here that likes the same thing. So I just wanted to take this video in explaining why I love the things that I love and how I got to where I am today. Snuggle up, get some snacks, because this was going to be a long one. In terms of my flexibility journey, man, it's like so many details. I started dancing when I was around 3, and I attended a small town studio. This wasn't your typical dance mom studio. It was learn a ballet, tap, and jazz piece for the summer recital. That was it. You really weren't concentrating on technique, on flexibility. It was more so learning the choreography, learning the routine. And of course the routine didn't have super technical things in it like you see nowadays with the acrobatic stuff like cray. No. Simple movements, and of course when it came to break down the technique, if we were having trouble with a move, then that's when it would come into play. But overall though, the focus wasn't there. It was more so creating a routine for the recital. I did that for maybe 10 years, and it wasn't until I attended high school that I realized how much technique I was lacking. I'll never forget it. We were having like a talent show in high school, and Lady Gaga was also in the same high school I was. It was so funny how things turned out. She was in the same dance class as I was, as she was dancing to Britney Spears, living out her pop life, because she loved that type of music, as we all did, including myself. And I did this like lip sync thing to Mariah Carey, and I'll never forget, I was wearing capri leggings with wedges and lip synced my life away. RuPaul would have been proud. Everyone was so impressed about like my pop star skills that I never thought that I had. And even Lady Gaga herself was like, oh my god, you're so talented, you really have a gift. Now I'm making YouTube videos and she is a multi-international pop star. How things work out. After that, or during that, I did another routine to Ricky Martin. Un, dos, tres. Remember that song? I did a solo to that, and I realized how I missed dancing, and I really wanted to go with it and delve deeper into it. So college season was upon me, and I really considered what I wanted to do long term. So I looked at all the different dance programs. I looked at Ailey, I looked at Purchase, I looked at Sarah Lawrence as well. And it was so funny because my parents, whom I love, they're so about ensuring a solid future, a solid foundation. My mom worked in corporate life since she was 18 years old, and that's all she knew. My dad was a firefighter, but he also plays the drums. When I was younger, they put me into piano lessons as well. I am definitely not an instrument person. I'm a mover, I'm a dancer. Like, my artistry found its way through that vein and not through the instrument playing game. And it's one of those things, I think he really wanted me to play piano well and make something out of it. He always mentioned, you know, if you play piano, you can write songs for the artists, and that's how they make money. It was just all about making money for the future, getting yourself right. And I'm like, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to play the piano. And it was really hard for him because we had this conversation one night. I was sober practicing. I hated it. And he was like, look, if this is something you don't want to do, I understand. And I could tell he was hurt. He really wanted me to go on that instrument way, but I just was not, my heart wasn't in it. So we closed the chapter on that. So when I applied for college, it was so tough because I didn't have great ballet technique. As I mentioned, we didn't focus on those things when I was younger, so as a young adult, I had to really catch up to the ballet technique, to the jazz technique. It was really difficult. The first summer I spent at Ailey, after I found out I got accepted to their BFA program, I was surrounded by such beautiful dancers. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a long haul. Like, people doing splits on chairs, the legs were kicking in the face. I mean, overwhelmingly hard. Before that summer, I attended Ballet Hispanico for a year on scholarship, and I am still so grateful for that time because it really prepared me for Ailey. I took ballet 5 times a week, ballet and point, flamenco, modern dance, to really prep me for my 4 years as a college student, as a dance major. So thank you, Ballet Hispanico, if you end up watching this, for all the work you helped me achieve and for the prep that I needed for college. Forever grateful. Got my prep, went to Ailey, was like, oh my gosh. And that's when I started to really train my flexibility. I remember I had like a little personal ballet bar, I had a wooden platform, all in my living room on a rug, I had my couch. Every day I worked tirelessly to achieve my splits, front and side. And I'll never forget, it was like the blackout of 2000 something, and I was like, I know you're blacked out, but you still gotta practice your splits. And my hips touched the floor. I'll never forget it. I was so elated, like, you have no idea. I was constantly surrounded by super bendy, flexible people that I just felt so far, so that I couldn't achieve any of that. I'm like, oh, this sucks, man. Becoming flexible at 18 when you haven't been doing those type of movements is tough. And I don't care, like, the whole thing about I can't do flexibility, I'm too old. Yes, it will feel more painful because if you are trying to chip away years, 18, 20, 30 years of sitting, cycling, boot camp, anything you've done, the longer it sits, the harder it is to chip away. As opposed to a 10, 12-year-old that's only been doing it 10, 12 years of their life, there's not as much to chip away. So you can achieve it at an older age, it just takes longer, and you have to be very serious about warming up well and taking it a day at a time. And that's what I did. I took it a day at a time. I did different exercises for strength and flexibility, and I finally got my flat splits. Fast forward 4 years, I graduated. that was a long 4 years, man. And during my senior year, I applied to Equinox as a front desk associate. Then I took my first group fitness class. The only meeting I had with fitness of any kind during my 4 years at college was like Pilates and Pilates. I don't think I ever took a group fitness class ever until that one time. And we're talking like 2006. And maybe in terms of timeline, 2003, I got my splits. 2006, I took my first group fitness class. 3 years on and off maintaining flexibility, and I still had my splits, my flat ones, but I really needed to warm up. Like, I couldn't just go splat on command, or else that ish would have hurt, which took me the longest to achieve because my hips are so tight that I started so high in my straddle with a very small triangle, and slowly every day worked on it, and I was able to get sort of a pancake down on the floor. And I was still able to achieve those things in 2006. And I was so gung-ho about getting strong because I could barely do a push-up. I couldn't get my chest to the floor. My form was terrible. I was arching on the push-up. My endurance was awful. My cardiovascular output was just negative. Like, it was bad. I wanted to get stronger, wanted to improve my stamina, my endurance, so I took group fitness classes religiously. I was crazy about the cycling, I was crazy about the boot camps. I just wanted to go pump it out every day. And of course, I didn't stretch as much as I needed to. And especially with doing all these new strength movements and gaining more strength, my flexibility started to decrease. So we fast forward, I don't know, maybe like 2013, I would say, yeah-ish. Maybe 2012, when I went to body and pole and took my first aerial class. That's when I was like, whoa, mama's tight. Warm up for aerial, you do splits, you do back bends, because those are the shapes you do in the air. And then I took my first flexibility class. Granted, I took yoga before all of this, so I knew about the flexibility thing. I knew about the different shapes you can make. I was not ready for this. It was with Isaac Pena. He's a yogi and also a contortion coach and teacher, and oh my gosh, it was like pain that I've never experienced before. What is that? What are those? Back bends? Head to toe? Huh? It was all so foreign to me, but I loved it. I loved it. I wanted to get better at it. I wanted to gain everything that I have lost over time, that I wasn't maintaining my flexibility from what I had in college. I was like gung-ho on a new mission. So I worked every day tirelessly to achieve over splits, to achieve deeper back bends, and it has been a 4 or 5 year journey. It's been a long haul. I'm 31 and it's tough. It's tough. I also train handstands, and let me tell you, man, that is the hardest skill to master, because no matter what you master, there are always more things to master. Fine, you got 2 arms. Now you gotta do the 1 arm. And then you gotta do the other arm. It never ends. I could proudly say that I'm able to hold a straight handstand for 30 seconds. In terms of how long it took me to achieve that, I'm gonna say 5-6 years. And I didn't take yoga to achieve it. I sought out hand balance coaches, and their approach is very different from yoga in that with yoga, you do the flow, and if the handstand option is there, you do the handstand. And of course, the chaturanga low push-up position preps the shoulders for the strength that you need. But it doesn't stress the technique and the drills that you can take that will lead you to a very strong handstand. Hand balancers, contortionists from the circus world will get you there. It's a different approach, and it's funny. even though I do a lot of yoga things on my Instagram, I don't consider myself a yogi. Yoga for me is a spiritual practice. And I will take class because my friend teaches it, or if I haven't seen someone for a while and they're like, let's take yoga, I'm like, sure, let's take yoga. I'll take it with them. I don't religiously go to a yoga class. I don't feel like I need to in order to achieve what I have achieved. My splits, my handstands come from contortion training and hand balance training. And that's when you drill specific exercises to achieve a straight handstand or a contortion handstand. And it's all about what you want. I mean, I love yoga. I take some stuff from yoga to help me with my own handstands in terms of jumping from downward dog into a handstand or from forward fold into a handstand. I'll just drill that back and forth, but I won't actually do a flow by myself. I'll just pick it apart. So I guess, you know, it's funny. It's fine when people call me a yogi or they consider me a yogi, but I consider myself a movement handstand enthusiast above all else, because I think that's how I train, and that's why I identify with that category. But I really don't care. You know, we're all movers, whether you consider yourself a yogi, a dancer, a movement person like the Ido Portal tribe. It's all with your body, and you do what you want. And I'm all about bendy handstands. This is what I love to do. You can do it. It is all about putting your mind to it and knowing that it takes practice, it takes patience, and diligence. It's like one of those things where people want to run a marathon or they sign up for a competition. It's just to prove to yourself that you can achieve something on your own, that you, with help from teachers, from friends, it takes a village. I really believe that. And when you achieve a goal, you're like, wow, like it is possible. I never thought I was able to do a handstand. I mean, when my friend from college showed me a push-up, I could barely do it. I was like, how can you push yourself up from the floor just using your arms? What? If you want it bad enough, you can achieve it. Anyone's body is capable. And yes, if you're dealing with injuries, if you're dealing with obstacles, work with them. And you have to have that conversation with yourself. It's one of those things that you have to admit that you cannot do it all. I can't be great at CrossFit and want to get my head to my butt in contortion. And I miss performing, so that's why I'm sticking with the contortion, because perhaps I'll have the opportunity to perform at events just for entertainment, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to be a part of Cirque du Soleil. I'm too old for it, and that's totally fine. I just want to be able to prove to myself that I still can have the opportunity to perform, to work on my artistry, and still fulfill that need that I miss being on stage. And I really feel I'm good at it, and I really love it. I love training it, so I'm gonna stick with it. And whenever I perform, I'm gonna put those clips on YouTube and Instagram. So if you're thinking about if you're thinking about becoming more flexible or just doing it for fun, I high five that and support it. Do you. Don't think of it as a strange hobby. Like, do what makes you happy. Some people like happy hour. I like training splits. And I also love contouring. If you have any questions about flexibility, handstands, I am really trying to be better about filming little drill clips that I do on a daily basis to help you get there. Because I know how it is to train from the bottom up. And yes, I had a dancer background, I had that movement background, but it wasn't intense. I mean, it wasn't like Dance Mom intense, so I still had to really work on my flexibility. I was not able to do splits as a child. I was not able to do back bends as a child. Everything that I have now, I achieved as a young adult. So if you are in your mid-20s, in your early 30s, and you have something to work with, it is possible. If you want to become more flexible, you don't have to take a yoga class. And I'm not saying that to take away from all the incredible yoga instructors out there, all the incredible yoga classes and workshops out there. If that's not your thing, you shouldn't force yourself into it just to become more flexible. You become more flexible by practicing flexibility. And you just have to stretch wherever you are, in your house, in the park, on the beach. If you're in the office, take a figure 4 while sitting down. Do a little shoulder circle, back circle, hip circle thing, standing up to give your body a break from sitting. All those things add on and all those things help. And when you have time, take a flexibility class instead of a yoga class to see what the difference is. And if you rather just take yoga, then you just stick to yoga. But now you know the difference and you know for sure what you like, what you don't like. If you like them both, then hey, more food on the plate for you to eat from. I wanted to share this because I feel like it needs to be said, it needs to be known where I'm coming from, why I'm doing what I'm doing, or maybe who cares, but in case someone else is doing the same thing, they're in the same boats, to know that it's not all what you're born with, is not easy. It takes work, and if you want it, you will have it. Like my teacher says, all you have to do is ask. Thank you so much for watching. If you have, again, any questions about what I spoke about, flexibility, handstands, makeup, hair, we'll talk about it down below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one.